All right, welcome. Today we're diving into a diplomatic puzzle that's kind of hiding in plain sight, one that connects our modern world to the legacy of an empire. So let's get right into it.
So, have you ever noticed this? The United Kingdom has an embassy in Paris, but then in Canberra, Australia, it's called a High Commission. It seems like such a tiny detail, right? But it's actually the key to unlocking this really unique and powerful global relationship.
Okay, so what is a High Commission anyway? Well, to put it simply, it's basically the Commonwealth's version of an embassy. It's the main diplomatic office between member countries. But that just leads to the bigger question: why the different name?
Right. To answer that, we've got to unravel a little bit of a diplomatic puzzle. The story behind this name, it's not just about words. It's really about history, about power, and about how an empire slowly transformed into, well, a family of nations.
And you've got to understand, this distinction is completely intentional. This isn't some forgotten rule or a weird bureaucratic quirk. No, Commonwealth countries actively choose this terminology, and the reason why? Well, that's where the story gets really interesting.
To get our answer, we have to jump back in time a bit. See, the term High Commission is a direct legacy of the British Empire, and the really unique way it evolved into the modern Commonwealth we know today.
So this journey from empire to Commonwealth, it's everything. At first you had territories like Canada and Australia that weren't even considered foreign to Britain. They were all seen as part of one single state. Then, as they started governing themselves and gained independence, the relationship changed. And that eventually evolved into what we have today, the modern Commonwealth, which is a totally voluntary group of equal, independent nations.
And here's the crucial point. Because they all shared this common history, and for a long time a single head of state, these newly independent nations didn't really see each other as foreign, not in the same way they saw, France or Japan. Their relationship was different, it was special, and it needed its own kind of diplomatic language.
So what happened was this created two totally separate diplomatic tracks. When dealing with truly foreign nations, they used the standard system we all know: ambassadors and embassies. But for relations within this unique family of nations, they came up with a parallel system: high commissioners and high commissions.
Now, this shared history didn't just create a new name, it actually created a key procedural difference. Yeah, it's not just about the sign on the building. It really changes how diplomats are formally accredited.
Okay, get this. An ambassador? They're traditionally accredited to the head of state. So a king, a queen, a president. It's a very formal court-to-court kind of thing. But a high commissioner, they're accredited directly to the head of government, the prime minister. This signals a much more direct, government-to-government working relationship.
And that government-to-government link was designed to reflect that special bond. It kind of skipped over some of the formal hoops you'd have to jump through with a completely foreign country. It really reinforced this idea that these nations were partners, almost like family members, just talking directly to each other.
So that's all the history and the procedure. But I bet you're wondering, okay, in the 21st century, does any of this actually make a difference day to day? Are they really that different?
Well, on a practical level, honestly, they're pretty much identical. Both high commissions and embassies are protected by the exact same international laws, and they do the exact same jobs, issuing visas, promoting trade, helping out their citizens. The real difference isn't operational at all, it's symbolic.
So, the crucial point here is this: the difference is symbolic, not operational. A high commissioner does the same job as an ambassador. A high commission functions just like an embassy. The whole difference is in the name and the history that name carries. But if the difference is only symbolic, why even bother keeping it around? Well, that's because in the world of diplomacy, symbols have immense power. And that name, High Commission, it continues to send a very, very specific message.
And it's really important to be clear here. We're not talking about colonies or dominions anymore. Every single Commonwealth country today is a fully independent sovereign nation, totally equal on the world stage, making its own choices.
And yet, they still use this special terminology. Why? Because it reinforces the core values of their relationship. It's a signal of equality among all the members. It's an acknowledgement of their shared history, the good and the bad. And it shows they recognize each other as unique partners, different from their relationships with any other country. So let's go back and reframe that original question. It's not that Commonwealth countries can't have embassies with each other, it's that they actively choose not to. They choose high commissions because it reflects their unique past and their ongoing commitment to this special, voluntary partnership. And that really leaves us with one final big question. In a world of constantly changing alliances and shifting global politics,
What power do these symbolic ties still hold? In a world of new partnerships, what's the future for a relationship built on such a shared, yet complicated, past?